Imagine walking into your backyard in late summer and pulling up basket after basket of vibrant, nutrient-dense roots that taste like pure sunshine. These are not your average garden vegetables. They store for months, feed your family through winter, and turn a few slips into dozens of pounds of harvest with surprisingly little daily effort. Yet when May rolls around and gardeners everywhere are rushing to get tomatoes, peppers, and zucchini into the ground, this one incredible crop gets left out of most plans. That is a missed opportunity that costs people abundant yields and healthier soil year after year. May is the gateway month in the garden. The soil has finally warmed after the last spring chills. Days are getting longer. Everything feels full of potential. But this is also the time when many gardeners make choices that limit what their plot can produce later in the season. They focus on the flashy, fast-growing favorites everyone talks about on social media. They fill beds with crops that need constant babysitting or bolt in the heat. Meanwhile, one of the most rewarding, productive, and resilient plants you can start right now sits on the sidelines in most home gardens. Let us talk about sweet potatoes. Planting sweet potatoes in May is the smart move that almost nobody makes, and it can completely transform your garden results this year and for seasons to come. These are not the same as regular potatoes. Sweet potatoes come from a different plant family entirely. They love the heat that arrives in late spring and early summer. They spread into beautiful, vigorous vines that act like living mulch, suppressing weeds and protecting your soil. One well-tended plant can yield 5 to 10 pounds or more of delicious roots. That is real food security from a small space. Before we get into exactly how to do this, let us look at why May timing matters so much across your entire garden. By now, the danger of hard frost has passed in most temperate zones. Soil temperatures are climbing towards 65 or 70 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the sweet spot for many warm season crops. Get this timing wrong, and seeds rot or plants sit stagnant. Get it right, and your garden explodes with growth. Most people use May to transplant their tomato starts, sow beans and corn, or direct seed cucumbers and squash. Those are all solid choices. The problem is they often stop there. They overlook crops that need the full heat of summer to reach their potential. Sweet potatoes are one of those. They require a long, warm growing season of 100 to 120 days or more, but they do not demand much hands-on work once established. Planting them now gives them exactly the runway they need to produce heavily before cooler fall weather arrives. Think about your typical May garden. Rows of lettuce and spinach from earlier in spring are finishing up. Peas might be wrapping their season. Everyone rushes to fill the empty space with the usual summer suspects. Few take a moment to consider a crop that builds soil health while it grows, provides edible leaves throughout the season, and delivers a massive harvest that stores beautifully without canning or freezing. That is the power of sweet potatoes. They are underrated, underplanted, and incredibly generous once you give them the right start. Sweet potatoes have a fascinating background. They originated in Central and South America thousands of years ago. Ancient civilizations valued them not just for food but for their reliability in tough conditions. Today, they remain a staple in many parts of the world precisely because they thrive where other crops struggle with heat and inconsistent water. In a home garden, they bring that same resilience. Their vines can stretch 10 to 20 feet or more, creating a dense ground cover. This natural shading keeps soil cooler and moister, reducing evaporation and weed pressure. The leaves themselves are edible and nutritious, often used in salads or cooked greens in many cultures. Nothing in your garden needs to go to waste. Nutritionally, sweet potatoes stand out as a true superfood. A single medium sweet potato delivers more than 100% of your daily vitamin A in the form of beta-carotene. That supports eye health, immune function, and skin vitality. They provide complex carbohydrates for steady energy, plus fiber that aids digestion. Compared to white potatoes, they have a lower glycemic impact when prepared properly, making them friendlier for blood sugar management. They are rich in antioxidants, potassium, and several B vitamins. Growing your own means you control the quality. No worry about shipping or long storage that diminishes nutrients. You harvest them fresh and enjoy peak flavor and health benefits. One of the biggest reasons more people do not plant sweet potatoes is simple unfamiliarity. Many assume they are tropical and only suited for southern states. That is not true. With the right varieties and timing, gardeners in zones 5 through 7 and beyond can succeed beautifully. The key is starting in May once the soil is warm. Cool soil is the enemy. Sweet potato slips will sulk or rot if planted too early. Wait until conditions are right, and they take off like a rocket. Let us break down exactly how to plant sweet potatoes this May so you can replicate success. First, you need slips. These are the young shoots that grow from mature sweet potatoes. You can buy certified slips from reputable suppliers, which is the easiest route for beginners. Look for varieties like Beauregard, which is a reliable high yielder with orange flesh and good disease resistance. Georgia Jet offers slightly better cold tolerance if you are in a marginal zone. Jewel and Centennial are other strong performers. Order slips now if you have not already, or start your own by placing organic sweet potatoes in a warm, bright spot with the ends in water or moist sand. In a few weeks you will have plenty of vigorous slips ready to go. Soil preparation is crucial, and where many gardeners can improve their results dramatically. Sweet potatoes crave loose, well-drained soil. Heavy clay will stunt their root development. If your ground is compacted, take time to loosen it with a broad fork or digging fork. Work in plenty of compost. Aim for slightly acidic pH around 5.5 to 6.5. Raised beds are fantastic for sweet potatoes because they warm up faster and provide the excellent drainage these plants love. Avoid fresh manure or high nitrogen fertilizers. Too much nitrogen pushes leafy growth at the expense of root size. A balanced organic approach works best. When planting, create ridges or mounds about 6 to 8 inches high and 12 to 18 inches wide. This promotes drainage and gives the developing roots room to expand. Space your slips 12 to 18 inches apart within the row. Rows can be 3 to 4 feet apart to allow those vigorous vines to spread. Plant slips deep enough so that only the top leaves show above ground. This encourages more roots to form along the buried stem. Water thoroughly after planting to settle the soil around the slips. A light mulch of straw or leaves helps retain moisture and keeps weeds down without smothering the young plants. Once your sweet potatoes are in the ground, the care routine is refreshingly simple compared to finicky crops like tomatoes that need staking, pruning, and constant pest patrols. Consistent moisture is important, especially in the first few weeks as roots establish. Aim for about 1 inch of water per week, more during dry spells. Drip irrigation or soaker hoses work wonderfully and keep foliage dry, reducing disease risk. As the vines grow and fill in, they become excellent living mulch. You will need to direct stray vines back into the bed occasionally, but overall they require little intervention. Pest pressure is generally low. Sweet potato weevils can be an issue in some southern regions, but in most home gardens flea beetles or occasional leaf-footed bugs are the main concerns. Hand picking or using row covers early on handles most problems. Companion planting enhances everything. Grow sweet potatoes near bush beans, which add nitrogen to the soil. Marigolds and nasturtiums deter certain insects. Okra makes an excellent tall companion that loves the same hot conditions. The Three Sisters method of corn, beans, and squash can even be adapted around sweet potato patches for maximum space efficiency. Throughout the summer, keep an eye on your patch, but resist the urge to overtend. Sweet potatoes are forgiving. They handle heat waves better than many vegetables. Their deep roots access moisture that surface-rooted plants cannot reach. By mid to late summer, you will see the vines sprawling beautifully across the bed. This is when the real magic happens underground. Those roots are swelling into the sweet, vibrant tubers you will harvest. Harvesting time usually arrives 100 to 120 days after planting, or when the vines start to yellow and die back naturally in fall. Do not rush. Leaving them in the ground longer often increases size and sweetness, as long as frost is not imminent. To harvest, carefully loosen the soil with a digging fork well away from the main crown to avoid slicing tubers. Lift the entire plant and gently shake off dirt. You will be amazed at the cluster of roots attached to each vine. Sort them by size. Any damaged ones should be used first since they will not store as long. Curing is the secret step that turns good sweet potatoes into great ones. After harvest, let them sit in a warm, humid spot around 80 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit with good airflow for 7 to 10 days. This thickens the skin, heals minor cuts, and converts starches to sugars for better flavor. After curing, store them in a cool, dark place around 55 to 60 degrees. Properly cured and stored sweet potatoes can last 6 months or longer. That means homegrown goodness from your May planting all the way through winter holidays, and in the kitchen the possibilities are endless. Roast them with a touch of oil and salt for crispy edges and creamy centers. Mash them as side dish. Blend into soups. Bake into pies or breads. The leaves can be sautéed like spinach or added to stir fries. Growing your own opens up varieties you will never find in stores, from purple flesh types packed with extra antioxidants to heirlooms with unique flavors. While sweet potatoes are the standout choice for May that most overlook, they pair beautifully with other crops you should consider starting now. Okra is another heat-loving champion. Its tall, statuesque plants produce pods continuously once they get going. Soak the hard seeds overnight before planting to speed germination. Space them 2 to 3 feet apart in full sun. Harvest pods when they are 2 to 3 inches long for tenderness. Okra loves the same warm conditions as sweet potatoes and makes a striking visual contrast in the garden. Beans, both bush and pole varieties, are May staples for good reason. They fix nitrogen, improving soil for future plantings. Sow them directly once the soil is warm. Cucumbers and summer squash germinate quickly and provide fast harvests. Melons need space, but reward patience with sweet, juicy fruits. For longer-term thinking, tuck in some perennial herbs or vegetables this month. Asparagus crowns or rhubarb divisions planted now will establish roots before summer heat. Walking onions or sorrel offer perennial harvests with minimal effort. Companion planting strategies tie everything together. The classic Three Sisters combination of corn, climbing beans, and squash creates a self-supporting ecosystem. Sweet potatoes can weave around the base, using the ground cover advantage. Flowers like marigolds, borage, and sunflowers attract pollinators and beneficial insects while adding beauty. This layered approach maximizes every square foot and builds a resilient garden that works with nature instead of fighting it. Of course, even the best plans encounter challenges. Avoid common May pitfalls. Do not plant into cold, wet soil no matter how eager you are. Test soil temperature with a simple thermometer. Do not overcrowd beds in your excitement. Give plants room to reach their potential. Stay consistent with watering and weeding in the first month. Neglect early on leads to bigger problems later. Monitor for nutrient deficiencies. Yellowing leaves might signal the need for a side dressing of compost tea. Building a productive garden is about more than one season. Choosing sweet potatoes and complementary crops in May sets you up for abundance now and healthier soil for years ahead. The vines protect and enrich the earth. The roots feed your family. The knowledge you gain carries forward. Next year, you can save your own slips from the best performers, creating a self-sustaining cycle. Take a moment to think bigger than the usual lineup. Reserve space for sweet potatoes. Give them that warm May start they crave. You will thank yourself when you are harvesting baskets of homegrown goodness while others are buying store produce. Your garden can be more productive, more resilient, and more rewarding than you imagined. The one thing almost nobody does in May might just become your favorite annual tradition. Get those slips in the ground, tend them with care, and enjoy the incredible results that follow. Happy planting! Your future self and your dinner table will be grateful.